Yesterday, tempers flared at a House Select Committee hearing on the weaponization of the government. There were some FBI whistleblowers there, and they exposed just how politicized the FBI has become. And while doing so, to me, is quite disturbing how Democrats on the subcommittee literally portrayed these whistleblowers as a bunch of disgruntled employees testing conspiracy theories. Look, I served on the Oversight Committee myself, and so many of the Democrats time and time again came to the defense of whistleblowers. But now, when whistleblowers are going against their narrative, they accuse them of being a bunch of disgruntled employees. But nonetheless, we have these continued hits on the FBI's reputation, and it's coming, by the way, on the same week that the Durham report exposed the absolute political bias that exists within the Bureau. So the question is, can the FBI recover its public image? Well, joining me now to discuss this and more is Congressman Nathaniel Moran. He serves on the House Judiciary Committee, the House Foreign Affairs Committee, and the House Education Committee. He represents the 1st Congressional District of Texas. Congressman Moran, thank you for joining us. Welcome back to Washington Watch.
Thank you, Jody. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Well, it's always great to have you as well. All right, listen, between the Durham report and the Weaponization Committee's whistleblowers, the FBI's had a pretty rough week, wouldn't you say?
It was a rough week, and especially for the FBI, who had the light shown on the activities that they've been conducting the last several years. This is exactly why we needed a weaponization subcommittee under the Judiciary Committee to look into what is the government doing against its own private citizens. It's astounding to know that the government that's established to help to try to protect our rights and preserve our rights and help us as individuals have simply reversed that back and are cramping down on our individual rights and trying to go after us for our political beliefs, which is effectively what they're supposed to try to defend us for.
Yeah, you're spot on that. That in itself is exactly what was so troubling in that hearing yesterday. And it was brought out. I saw Congressman Jordan specifically bring it out that the American citizens are now the target. This is so disturbing. What is it from your perspective that came out of the hearing yesterday, revelations to you perhaps that were new or at least perhaps went into a greater arena of confirmation that was troubling? What did you hear that was bothersome?
One of the things that was very troubling to me was this idea that they were somehow in the FBI monetizing incentives for FBI field offices to increase the number of cases that were classified as domestic violent offenses. I mean, this domestic violent extremism, the DVE as they call it, and for field offices to feel that pressure to all of a sudden take nothing burgers and to elevate them up to actual federal crimes and to classify them as domestic violent extremists just so they can get a bigger paycheck seemed to me to be contrary to the rule of law, contrary to their mission. Their mission is to defend the American public, not to somehow take ordinary Americans and turn them into extremists or terrorists. And one of the things that Chairman Jordan said yesterday in this subcommittee hearing was telling. He said, whether you're a pro-lifer who's just peacefully demonstrating at a clinic, or you're a Catholic going to mass, or you're just an ordinary citizen in everyday life, all of a sudden now you're the target of investigation if your political beliefs do not align with the left. That's what the FBI, their leadership, has turned into. There's so many great FBI field agents out there that want to do a good job, and we saw some of them yesterday that were trying to expose what was going on. But the leadership in the FBI has gone awry.
And that is so right. There are some good people there, but it's the old rotten apples that spoil the whole bunch. I wanted to play this clip for you and get your reaction. The ranking member of the subcommittee literally accused Republicans of being anti-FBI. I want to play, if we will, clip 9. I'd like to get your response to this.
My colleagues on the far right are on a mission to attack, discredit, and ultimately dismantle the FBI. This is defund the police on steroids.
Wow. What do you say to that?
I tell you what we're on a mission to do, and that is expose and to hold to account those that are working contrary to the rule of law. We were just in Manhattan a few weeks ago, the Judiciary Committee, having an extended and very heated debate about what Alvin Bragg is doing there in New York City. And that's emblematic of what's going on across the nation as it relates to the purported upholding of the rule of law by Democrats. And truthfully, it's nothing more than undercutting the rule of law and going after those who politically disagree with it. We've seen it with Alvin Bragg going after President Trump, and now this young man in the subway that was defending other individuals on the subway, he's being prosecuted just simply because of political pressure in New York City. And that is so unfortunate.
It really is. Yeah, I want to play one more clip here for you because these are just disturbing clips to me. Again, Representative Plaskett, where she's really accusing MAGA Republicans for being a threat to the rule of law. Play clip 8, please.
This hearing is evidence, as if we needed any more, that MAGA Republicans are a threat to the rule of law in America.
Wow. That's
astounding.
Yeah, what do you say?
Well, what I tell you is an affront to the rule of law, and that is we need whistleblowers in our government to come forward when there's something going on. That's where accountability can best be had, because those folks are in the middle of it. They know what's going on behind the closed doors. We need them to come forward and to expose the light when things are going contrary to what should happen in government. And yesterday, it's the Democrats and the liberals that expose themselves as being anti-rule of law by going after the very whistleblowers that we need in government. And we've seen over generations that it happens in both types of administration, that government gets too big, and if it's not accountable, it gets like a runaway train. We need folks on that train that can pull that brake and say, wait, this is not what government is supposed to do. Yesterday, we had those whistleblowers bravely telling their stories, and we had Democrats pushing back saying, we don't want to hear it, and then attacking them personally.
Congressman Nathaniel Moran, thank you so much for joining us on Washington Watch again. Always an honor to have you, sir.
My pleasure, Jody. Keep up the great work. Thanks.